Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video we are going to talk about exceptions. So technically we finished everything related to object orientation, and now we are going to dive into something that is very specific to Java. So exceptions are flows that are happening that will probably break your code, or they are not supposed to happen. So for example, remember when we were trying to do divide two numbers, and we said, well, the second number cannot be 0 because there is no division by 0. And we didn't know how to handle that. The only option we had was returning 0. But this is an exception. So if someone tries to create a division by 0, you should say, okay, you are not supposed to do this. And you should throw what we call an exception. So in Java, there are several ways to handle exceptions. So we have exceptions that are, like in this example, something that happened because someone passed a wrong argument, or there are exceptions that can happen that is beyond your control. So for example, imagine that you create a program that will read a file, and the program is working perfectly fine, and suddenly someone deletes that file, or they change the access and nobody can read that file anymore. So once you try to open that file again, you are going to get an exception. So this exception is beyond your control. Another example is when you have a database. Imagine that your program is connected to a database. The database is somewhere in maybe, I don't know, Ireland, because these days you can choose your region when you are creating a cloud environment. And you are working from Brazil, for example, and something can happen in between and you don't have access. Maybe the database is down, or maybe the internet connection is not working. So it's beyond your control. So there are exceptions that are in your control and exceptions that are beyond your control. And there is something else that is called errors. So to just summarize everything, this is how it looks like. In Java, everything is an object, and all the errors and exceptions that can happen in a program, they are throwable. So they are an instance of throwable. They pass the test is a throwable. So we are going to talk in deeper details about this part in next videos. But right now, I would like to start with error because it's the simplest one. What is an error in Java? Error is something that happens in your JVM that will probably break your entire system. When you have an error, it probably will require you to restart the JVM. So for example, we have, imagine that you have an application that's running and suddenly there is no memory to create new objects. Your JVM will say, okay, I cannot create more objects, so I'm going to throw this out of memory error. And when you have an error, it's like, okay, there is no way for me to recover for this error, because if the JVM is telling you I don't have enough space in memory, of course they probably tried everything they could before sending you this error. So there is nothing much you can do that will be able to recover without restarting the entire JVM. Another error, for example, is Stack Overflow. Actually, we have to explain what is the stack. So imagine the following. In Java, every time you execute a call, you are executing a call to a stack. So let me start here with this one. So if we go back and we can use the example product test 03. So we have the main method, and then the main method is going to call the generate text report, and the generate text report will call calculate text value that is inside each one of the objects that's passed by product. So basically we have the main method that is calling this, coming back here, generate text report. So we go back, it's calling generate text report. That is calling the calculate text value. So as you can see, we are building a stack, and this stack is inside a memory. So this is the memory allocated. So we have our stack going on, and of course there is a limit where you cannot allocate more data. But every time we are running and we are creating new objects, executing new calls, after we finished, we have the garbage collector that will come and start cleaning. So basically, this will move up and down because of the garbage collector. But let me just type down, this is stack, and stack is inside our memory. But there is one scenario where sometimes when you are using recursive methods, where this stack will blow. So imagine that you have a method called main, and you have a method called recursion. So basically the recursion method is going to call itself. So we have recursion being calling recursion, calling recursion, calling recursion. And if we have this exact same stack, you will probably notice that at some point in time, we don't have enough memory. So when we reach this point, the JVM say, okay, I did everything that I could, but right now I cannot allocate enough. I cannot allocate any other objects inside our stack because the memory is not enough. So that point, you will get Stack Overflow error. And we can do that actually. So let's create a new package here. Right click, package, O, exception. And let's just create test package for now. And let's create here Stack Overflow test 01. Yes, VM. So public static void recursion, and then recursion will call itself. So through this, we are going to replicate this scenario. We have the main method that's called recursion, and recursion is calling itself until it will blow the memory. Now let's execute Ctrl+Shift+F10. And as you can see, we have, if you go all the way up, exception in the thread main, Stack Overflow error. So basically Java kept calling the recursion method over and over and over and over, and at some point in time the memory is not enough, and that's when the JVM is not able to recover itself. There is no way for the JVM to just stop the program without you knowing, so it just breaks, and then you, the developer, must come and fix the issue. So in this case, we can either remove or fix the recursion to, at some point in time, it just stops. But you get the idea. Error is something that's going to happen in your code, and if it happens, you have to fix what's causing, because there is no way for it to recover. So I think that's enough information. We are going to continue with different topics, but right now, this is everything that you need to know about errors. Let's continue in the next video, and we're going to go down the right side now. So see you there. Bye.